Morning everybody, thank you for joining Blue Water Predators YouTube channel. Today I'd like to show you guys a little something different. Most people have the rear tail lights that go into the water. Well, normally they go out because of the salt water, so I'm going to show you guys something different. Let's go check it out. So this is my Panga and this is my boat trailer. Down here I have these red LED lights that I just replaced about 4 months ago before our Keys trip. I had one go out. Sorry about the dog. I had one go out and I heat shrinked it, did everything proper. I rinsed it off and stuff after the salt water, but salt water seems to always get in. It's submersible, but all these LED lights all no longer work except for one. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring one single wire from the 4-way flat up to the LED light. I don't have the pipe on, and I'll show you guys why, but the LED light's going to come up here and it should all work out. So let's go ahead and go into the shop and check it all. Now inside the shop, I already went ahead and bent out 2 of these. I have it bent out for exactly my specs. Whenever you do this, you measure out your mark. You want to go about 1 inch past for the bend. So I already had that, and I'm going to show you guys the process of doing that on this dirty, nasty piece of pipe. This is schedule 40. You don't want to use schedule 20. You'll end up cracking it. So over here, I already have my mark, and here's a heat gun. You want to use a heat gun. If you use a torch, you have chances of blowing holes through it and all. So what you want to do is you want to bring it over a surface, because surfaces can cool down the pipe. Now, it's going to be a little bit loud, so I'm not going to turn it on, but what you want to do is you want to hold it away about 1 inch and slowly just rotate it till it gets soft. And I'll show you guys how. Alright, so we heated it. Good way to tell if it's ready, so you can squeeze it in by your fingers. Alright, so over here in the vise, we cut 2 pieces of 1x4. And we're gonna put this in between, and the reason why we did the 1x4 is because this would leave indentions and tear it up. So you wanna make sure the boards are nice and flat. You wanna get it where it needs to be, even. You want the boards to go just a little bit past your mark. Tighten it up, I'll adjust the boards a little bit. There we go. All right, slowly crank it in. So now, sometimes the pipe wants to go to the side. You can always bend it over because it's still nice and hot, and it'll cool down straight. All right, let it cool down a little. Open it back up, and there's your flat piece. So now our next step over here is we're going to take the actual pipe whenever we get the lights out, and we're going to drill down in an angle. You don't want to go straight down. If you go straight down, you won't have no room for any of your wires. You want to drill a hole just big enough for your wire. And I'll show you what we're going to be using. But right now, I have to go to work. It's so easy that I'm doing it in the morning before work, and I'll finish it up right after work. So I'll see you after work. All right, I'm back from work. Pretty busy day. Now it's time to finish up this project. So what we're going to do is, I got my lights in. I went ahead and grinded out little indentions. Reason for that is these 3 wires are going to fit through it, and this is going to mount on to this. So now, how we're going to do this is we're going to line it up how we want, whenever you have it straight and how you actually want it. We're going to go ahead and make 2 dots. All right. Those are our dots. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a drill bit that fits the screw that you want. By the way, the screw that I'm using is a stainless steel through bolt. You don't want to use a screw. Through bolts are the best. Stainless steel also, because even though it's not going in the water, the salt air still gets on it. I'm also using a lock nut so it doesn't back off. All right, Alright, now that that's drilled, we're going to keep the same bit. And right here, how I was explaining earlier, was we want to take the smaller bit, make a pilot hole. And then we're going to take a bigger bit and make a bigger hole. What that's going to allow is whenever the wire comes through, since it's an extension cord, it's a little bit bigger, and it's going to allow the wire to fit through. Let's go ahead and drill that out. Make sure you drill it in an angle also, so it's easier for the wire to come out and it doesn't bind. Let's switch over to the bigger one. All right. Now that the holes are drilled, we're going to go ahead and take our light, make sure the wires are nice and flat again, put it back to where the holes were, take our stainless screw, take the lock, let's tighten it down. Now, whenever you're tightening these, you don't want to tighten too tight. It's made out of plastic. It'll crack. All right. And there we go. We have it all ready. Loosen this up. There's our mounted light. So now we're actually going to end up taking this light back off because we're going to feed the wire through, and it's going to come through here. And whenever we heat shrink and butt splice it all, with the light being off, we're able to put all the heat shrink and everything back through that bigger hole that we drilled. Let's go ahead and step outside. The next step we have is removing all the old wiring from the trailer. I'll meet you guys. All right, now that we're outside, what we're going to go ahead and do is we have to remove all the old wiring. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to snip it down at the tail lights, and then underneath here, my wire is hung up by this little black dot right here. It's a zip tie push-in. You can get a pack of 50 for about $10. Some use metal brackets and stuff on the inside. It's a zip tie, but either way, the objective is to remove your old wiring. So whenever I remove my old wiring, believe it or not, here's the thing. I'm going to use an extension cord. I already measured out my trailer. It's 35 foot. I bought 40. It's a little extra. You can buy 100 cut in half. The reason why extension cord is amazing is 3 wires inside are insulated, and it's also insulated on the outside. So it's going to go from the 4-way all the way to the LED light with never being in the water, nothing exposed. Now, it's time to get to work. Alright, now that the old wiring is down, I'm going to come up here, and whenever I install the new wiring, I'm going to cut the wire just behind this tire. Reason for it is I'm going to tape on the new wire, and there's a hole underneath here, and then I'm going to tape it to that wire, and it's going to allow me to pull it through this metal tubing and bring it out, and then connect it to the 4-way flat. Now, the boring part's about to happen. I got to unravel the extension cords, and nobody wants to see that. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, we went ahead and ran the wire. I drilled a hole underneath in here, put in a rubber grommet, ran the wire up and out of here. What we did over here is we cut off the end, we staggered each wire and stripped them out. The reason why they're staggered is because we made the hole just tight enough for the wire. Now, you want to push each one into it. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to put a piece of adhesive heat shrink onto each wire, and then put a crimp onto each, and then crimp the light side on. And then we're gonna slide the heat shrink over, and we're gonna slowly do the heat shrink till you see glue come out of both sides. All right, let's do that part. All right, so what we're doing here is we're crimping on a crimp onto each wire. We're using insulated free crimps. That way the heat shrink can go over it. We're using a torch. Sometimes you can use a heat gun. Torches work a little bit faster. But whenever you use a torch, you don't want to stay in one spot or you'll melt the wire or you'll melt the heat shrink. You see discoloring into the wire? You're staying in one spot too long. Now the heat shrink will go around everything and shrink up really tight, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily done. Sometimes you have to wait till you see the glue come out of the ends of it. That means it's actually a sealed type. Alright, all that's left to do is pull the wire through and mount the light. I'll meet you guys over whenever we do the four-way. Alright, we finished up the boat. Let's check out what we got. Alright, so over here, we went ahead and brought the extension cords up through here. I actually did a little bit different of a plan than what I originally said. Originally said that there were some holes I was going to feed it through. That's where the original wires came through. I actually came in from behind where the square pipe is. I came in, I drilled 2 new holes, and I brought both of them in, brought them out to original wiring. We wired them up the same exact way as the lights. We staggered them. We used heat shrink. I put a little grommet so it doesn't tear it up. It didn't originally have that. We wired it up, pushed it back through, put some wire loom on it. That's what we did there. Over here, as you can see, all these little black dots, we got it all nice and tight. Zip tie push-ins. Down over here, we have all this. Lights are all working, everything's great. I had to, like I said, originally drill a hole through here, run it up through. Everything works perfect. So now that our lights and everything works perfect, it's time for maybe a new project for some future videos. Introducing our 2004 Panga Marine 21 foot. Yamaha 115, works wonderful. Yamaha's always great. The only thing is it's a little dirty on the inside. We're gonna get this all ready and see what we need to fix. See you guys next time.